we'll go to game 3, Philly, Washington. The Sixers just routed the Wizards in game 2. Ben faced a lot of criticism after game 1 because he only scored 6 points, even though he had 15 rebounds, 15 assists, played great defense on Bradley Beal. It's the typical Ben Simmons storyline in a nutshell. Game 2, he was much more aggressive as a scorer. He had 22 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists. The Sixers were just firing on all cylinders. We'll have to see the status of Tobias Harris. He had an ankle scare early, did come back to the game. Seth Curry injured his in the third quarter, did not come back, but that's probably because they were up 20 at the time. They didn't need him to. Russell Westbrook, as we mentioned at the top of the show, also got hurt, also an ankle. So ankles were just banned ankles from the Wells Fargo Center, I guess. But we'll see what his status is for game 3. Do the Wizards have any counters that they can throw at the Sixers at this point?
They don't. And by the way, I'm super surprised you didn't open your entire Savada there by bringing up that Paul Reed played 5 minutes and had 4 points, 3 boards, and a block.
B-ball Paul, baby. Playoff B-ball Paul.
Oh, yeah. Okay, there we go. Playoff P. You really just go, yep. All right.
Yep. Well, it was like, going into the press conference last night, it was like, who do you even ask about? Like, everyone played well other than Shake Milton. Like, Doc, please talk about your entire roster. Tyrese Maxey, Thibault. Like, Thibault had, what was it, 5 steals and 4 blocks in 20 minutes?
Oh, God, did he? I didn't even catch that in the box score. Did he really?
Yeah. Oh, no, sorry. 5 blocks and 4 steals. I got that mixed up. Yeah. But he was like one of only 20 players in NBA history to ever have that stat line in the playoffs. No one had done it in fewer than 35 minutes. He did it in 20.
Good Lord. See, that didn't pop up in the condensed game. Okay.
Yeah. He's just...
Wow.
I mean, it was just an all-around ass-kicking. I will say this. The Wizards have to stop starting Raul Neto. There is absolutely no point. And Ben... I mean, that was the theme that came up a lot throughout all the press conferences last night. I wrote about it for Forbes today. Ben, again, came under a lot of criticism for only scoring 6 points in that first game. And he was saying, look, I just took what the defense gave me. Like, Tobias had 37 points. Joel had 30. Like, I was just making plays for my guys because they were really hot. The Wizards adjusted their defensive scheme and started giving me more space because they were glued to Joe. They were glued to our shooters. So I had more room to operate as a scorer. And I just took what they gave me and I scored. Like, he had 12 points in the first quarter. He had more points in the first quarter than he did in all of game 1.
I'm not going to comment on that because I have a take on that, but I'm not.
Fire away.
Like, that's just I get it. And that's a team first mentality, which I appreciate. But
yeah,
like in the playoffs, you can't keep thinking I'm only going to take what the defense gives me. I'm sorry. God, like, I really want to hammer home this point. I don't hate Ben Simmons. I realized that over the past 2 podcasts, it sounds like I do. I really don't. I loved what I saw in, granted, the condensed game that I watched, but still, I don't have as much time in the entire world, Bryan. But I love the aggressiveness there. I really do. I don't understand, but to go from there and just say, well, it's fine that I occasionally score just 4 or 6 points in a game. Like, no, you are so good that you should have a certain baseline regardless. I really think I was about to say that's a passive attitude, but I think that's unfair. I don't think that's a passive attitude because you know what? He's so aggressive at defender. He's such an aggressive playmaker. So I think the word passive should just be crossed off the list. That's not a fair word to use for him whatsoever. I think for him, it's just a matter of recognizing you got to go get it. No one's going to hand you things. So if your mentality is, I'm going to take what the defense gives me, like, no. If you make the finals and you're up against, like, I don't know, or the Eastern Conference Finals, even when you're up against the Brooklyn Nets, for example, like, they're going to take everything they can away from you. You can't sit back and go, I'll just wait my turn. No, you got to go grab that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've made this comparison before, and it's not them as like, I'm not saying Ben Simmons is on the level of LeBron James. He is not. But it reminds me of especially early years LeBron criticism because he, too, would often, say he's just making the right play. Like, he's passing up a potential game-winning shot. because a teammate is wide open, you have to live with the results. And, you know, he's saying like, look, I'm just playing the odds here. Like, you know, this is the right basketball play. And over time, good process is going to beget good results. And that's similar to what Ben Simmons is, you know, his mentality is and what he's been saying really throughout this whole year. Same with Doc Rivers. Like, Doc has been saying all year, every time a Ben Simmons scoring question comes up, he's like, I don't care. You guys are fixated on it. I'm not. All I want to see is that he's getting downhill. He's getting, you know, he's attacking. He's being careful with the ball. You know, he can use the threat of him as a driver to both score if he's got the space or kick out if he doesn't. And
right. So, and he'll practically always have the space, Bryan, because he's 6'10", 240.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I like the version that they got in game 2 is what they're going to need moving forward. I totally agree with you that, like, I hear what Ben is saying too about, you know, taking what the defense gives you. But at a certain point, especially when you're facing a not overmatched Wizards team, you are going to have to kind of set the tone on your own. And seeing, you know, him being aggressive from the jump was really refreshing last night. You know, do I want him to take 30 shot attempts per game if it comes at the expense of Tobias and Joel? Absolutely not.
No.
But there is a way to make an impact offensively. You know, he did lead the team with 15 shot attempts last night, and, you know, he was a plus 18. He was a plus, I think, 19 in the first game as well, plus 18 as well. So he's just such a confounding player because he can make an impact in so many different ways.
Yeah.
But, you know, the Wizards just don't have the guys. Like, Russell Westbrook was the, you know, first play of the game. Russ is on him. He tells Seth Curry to clear out from the paint, and he's like, just go to the corner. And then Howell Neto, like, cheated over to stop Ben, and Ben didn't care at all. And Ben just bullied Russell, like, just plowed through Russ and, you know, had an easy layup. Later in the first quarter, he's one-on-one against Davis Bertans. Bertans flops to try to draw a charge. Ben just, like, walks over him and dunks all over his head. So that's the type of thing where if you're going to guard him one-on-one with overmatched defenders, he needs to go through that. He needs to take advantage of that. And Joel was saying that too. He's like, my man was not leaving me last night. So I told Ben, you have all this, I think he said, you have all the space and all the time in the world. So just be aggressive. I think that's kind of the mentality he needs moving forward. But from the Wizards' perspective, dear God, I know we say it all the time, but please someone free Bradley Beal. I feel so bad for him.
Yeah, it's not pretty. It's really not pretty. But you know what? I respect that he's loyal to the extent that he is. I mean,
do too. I
really do. Yeah. And look, they are going to get better. Obviously, they have the next Giannis on the roster.
I like Rui. I really do.
I do too. I just never get tired of that joke, though.
No, I know. All right, let's wrap up with Grizzlies, Utah, and turns out having Donovan Mitchell.
Before we do, I actually want to say, you know what? I would like to take a 20-minute, not now, but later on, I would like for us to take just a 20-minute conversation about Ben Simmons for the YouTube channel. Just you and I hashing it out, because I don't think you and I are far off. I think you and I are pretty much aligned on most things, and I really want to make sure, because I have a feeling, right, I have a bad taste in my mouth if people who are listening to this podcast right now feels like I'm just crapping all over him, and I really don't want people to get that impression. So I am inviting you officially to get on the channel with me, so we just hash out the entire topic that is Ben Simmons.
I'm totally down for that, and I'm sure we'll see what happens for the Sixers in the rest of the playoffs, but that will give us plenty of fuel to add to that debate, I'm sure.
Absolutely.